Hello, and welcome to Montessori Family Life. I'm Lorna McGrath, and today we're going to be talking about screen time, TVs, DVDs, iPads, iPhones, smartphones, mini computers, desktop computers, everything, games, video games. They're all a part of our children's lives. And so this is really a different day and age, and we have to come to grips with that practical life involves more than just sweeping floors and washing dishes. It also involves technology. And it's our job as the adults in our children's lives to support them the best we can and to help them to keep themselves safe, to keep their privacy, to warn them of the things, the dangers really, that are involved with some of the things that they will come across with their access to technology. So let's just begin by saying this is the world we live in, and so let's figure out how are we going to keep our children safe and how are we going to set limits for them around screen time. The first thing that we're going to do is the safety issue. And that will be with children anywhere from, I would say, 3 years old and up. Children need to know where they can go and what they can do when they're using technology. So, first thing with young children is you want to limit the screen time that they have. We'll go right back to the very beginning though, because I have been so many places and seen so many families, either in restaurants or in church or in their own home, who have, or they're sitting talking, let's say in a family interview for an older child, and they've got their very young infant with them, and they hand that baby, or they put in front of that baby, that infant, a phone. And that's the babysitter in a way, just like in the days before the phones and the mini computers and the laptops, we sometimes would use television as the babysitter. Now it's so much easier and more accessible to just hand them a screen and let that be their entertainment. It's not a good idea. What we know from research is that technology does not increase your child's intelligence, in the early stages. It does not allow their brain to develop in the ways that we know that brains need to develop. So, we don't want our infants, our children who are 2 years old and younger, to have access to those kinds of things. And I'm pretty firm on this now. You really don't want them to have access to that. What they need access to is people. They need access to you, to the people around them, to their brothers and sisters, to their parents, to their grandparents, because they need to be with human beings. They need to learn and take in how to be in relationship with other people. They need to also be in contact with real three-dimensional things. Those may be toys or activities that you give them to interact with during their floor time. And we don't want gadgets. You can go out and you can buy these big machine sort of things that are all kinds of gadgets and bells are ringing and things are happening. They don't need gadgets. What they need is very simple things that will attract their attention so that when they're having that floor time, they're using their bodies to move. So those attractive things shouldn't be too close to them, where they can just easily reach them. They need to be slightly out of their reach, so that they have to move their body toward the object. That's really, really important for them at this stage. It's not about the eye coordination with a screen. It's about hand-eye coordination with objects. It's about learning to roll over, learning to stretch and move, and all of those things. So please, please, please do not expose your 2-year-old and younger to technology. Let them explore the world that they live in first, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what do you do as a child gets older. And there are things that we can add in, but we want to be very careful about that during the first 6 years of life. The first 6 years of life are the most important for lengthening the synapses in the brain and helping your child to grow those threads in the brain that they need to do real intellectual capabilities. So, I'm going to give you some do's and don'ts, all right? First of all, we'll go with the don'ts. We already have said no technology for children 2 years old and younger. The second don't is no technology during family meals. When you are having a meal together with your children, they need to put away their iPhones or their smartphones, if you will. They need to put away their laptops. They need to put away any other kinds of devices. Family meals are a time when people need to be together, talking together, having conversations, thinking about things together, planning their weeks together. There's so many things to do and to talk about, and we're losing the art of conversation in many ways with our technology. So that's an important time for the family to bond, to practice conversation skills, to plan and organize family life. So no technology during family meals. Second, no technology during family meetings. And family meetings are something that we'll be talking about in other sessions. But family meetings are very important times in a family's life, and they happen usually once a week. And they're usually only about 15 minutes long. So once a week, 15 minutes, no technology. And I am including your smartphones, and that's for mom and dad as well as for the children. If during a family meeting, one of the parents actually answers their cell phone while you're having a family meeting, it gives the message to the family that whoever is calling us right now is more important than this 15 minutes that we're together as a family. So I'm going to really, really strongly say no technology, including smartphones, during family meetings. Another one that I've covered in another session, but I'm going to say it again, is no technology within an hour of bedtime. All of these screens that we watch, television, smartphones, mini computers, laptops, the screen, the light that's on the screen is a stimulant. It does not help your children calm down, even if it's a really nice, friendly story that has a happy ending and all of that. It is just not good for little children or older children, as a matter of fact, because it's a stimulator. And what you want your children to do is calm down and relax so that they can go to sleep. So reading a book is a great thing during the hour before bedtime, but watching a television show or doing a video game or any of those kinds of activities are not what we want our children to do within an hour of bedtime. Another one is we need to have a minimal amount of screen time throughout the day for 3 to 6 year olds, because again, going back to the first 6 years of life are the years that are most important for brain development, and we know from research that brain development happens best when children are interacting with real living people and real three-dimensional objects in their environment. So doing chores, washing dishes, sweeping the floor, that's also part of our world, and it's also really important for the brain. So what do we want to do when it comes to technology? We do want to limit the time that children are in front of a screen. And it can become more time as the child grows and gets past that first 6 years of life, but we don't want it to be all the time because it's very actually addictive. Screen time is actually that way, especially some of the video games that the older children will want to be doing. it becomes something that they can't stand it if they're not on that screen doing that video game. And so we really want to be careful that they don't become sort of addicted to those video games. So that's an important thing. And with older children, again, you can be discussing these things with them. It's not just like, okay, you're not going to be able to watch this screen. They need to be brought into the conversation. They need to know why. Because if they know why, they're going to be more cooperative. I won't say fully cooperative, but more cooperative about, how much time they can spend and what they can spend it on. We also want to, with older children, discuss safety. This is important when we come into this technological world and children have more access to computers and to the internet, is their safety. What should they be posting? What should they not be posting? How long does a post last? Children don't know that once they post something on the internet, it doesn't go away. It's always there. So if they post a picture, if they say something bad about somebody, or if they do any of that kind of stuff, it's going to be there forever. It doesn't just go away. And they need to know that lots of other people have access to that information once it's online. So you need to be sitting down with your child just like you would about, I remember in the early years we talked to children about stranger danger, okay? And we're talking about real human beings that actually stop their car and say, "Oh, little guy, come help me find my dog." We're talking about that kind of thing. We don't talk about, well, what's going to happen when you go online? There are strangers online, and it can be dangerous. So here are the sites. Also, as a parent, remember, you can control what kinds of sites your child can go to and what kinds they can't go to. They don't have to be on Facebook at 8 years old, by the way. They can wait until they're 13 or so, and you can control that. A very, very good book, and I think this is what we'll end with today, for your resource is a book called Talking Back to Facebook by James Steyer. It's a great book. It's a few years old, but it's still very much up to date and has great information for you as a parent about privacy, safety, the amount of screen time for different ages. Wonderful resource. I hope this has been helpful. Come back again.